Well, thank you everyone for coming tonight. We appreciate the large turnout. We actually were not anticipating this much interest in this event, and we're pleased that we were able to offer this opportunity to so many people who were interested. So we went a little over our intended limit, but we wanted to make sure everyone interested in coming had the opportunity to be here. We're honored to have back one of the speakers who our members have very much valued having, Dr. Ernst Roets. Many of you may remember him from an event that we had with Jack Posobiec and Raheem Kassam last year. He also was at the clubhouse, I think 2 years ago. He could probably correct me on that. And this time, we're very pleased to welcome also several members of leadership of Orania, an Afrikaner cultural community located in the Northern Cape in South Africa, which has been featured in the media and misrepresented in the media quite significantly over the past few years. So we wanted to bring to our membership the opportunity to hear directly from the leadership of that community so they can get a sense of what's going on there. Obviously, as you all know, our president, President Donald J. Trump, has addressed to some extent the situation that the Afrikaners face in South Africa. This is a minority population that is subject to an obscene number of racially discriminatory laws passed by a parliament that is not interested in economic prosperity, but rather interested in pushing sort of woke agenda on behalf of a people less native to that land than the Afrikaners themselves. So we think it's something that needs more discussion. We think it's a topic and a subject that merits scrutiny and attention from Americans and from all the people of the world as we look at what's happening to a country with great infrastructure, the best economy in Africa as it recedes under poor leadership, and looking at individuals who are able and willing to build a community that is self-sustaining in that extremely harsh environment is something that's notable, inspirational, and newsworthy. And we think it's something that's very interesting, and we're very pleased to welcome them here tonight. So with that, I'll let Dr. Ernst Roets come up to introduce a little bit more about the broader situation. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that, Nathan. I hope you don't mind me speaking with a glass of wine in my hand. It's really, really great to be back, and we are really flattered and grateful to see that there's so much interest in our situation. We, as the Afrikaner people in South Africa, have felt very rejected for several decades. We felt like we knew we were right in the sense that we knew the stories that have been told about us aren't true. I mean, I know my parents, I knew my grandparents, I knew my great-grandparents, and I know that they are and were good people. And yet, everywhere we go, we hear just how horrible they are and how evil they are and how racist they are when they haven't taught me anything racist growing up. And we've gotten to a point where I don't think we've lost faith in ourselves, but at a certain point, we started to lose faith in the rest of the world, meaning that we felt so rejected that we thought that maybe that this is just a battle that we've lost, and we're never going to have friends outside of South Africa again. And I'm very happy that is changing, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. Now, I don't have a prepared speech. I only have a few ideas I want to share with you, and I want to start with reference to an Afrikaans philosopher that I quoted last time I spoke with you, a man named N.P. van Wyk Lou, who wrote that you love a people not first and foremost because of their accomplishments, but because of the hardships that they've had to endure. And it's something worth thinking about. But I would add something to that to say you love a people or a culture because of their hardships. But if you can see that they are working to get through those hardships, if there are accomplishments between the hardships, or if they experience hardships as a result of accomplishments in the past, or if they can achieve accomplishments as a result or despite the hardships. And I say this not first and foremost with reference to us, I will get to that, but also with reference to a city like New York. I yesterday I had to take a quick flight down to Florida, and I was very fortunate to take the LaGuardia flight where you fly around Manhattan, and it was absolutely beautiful and really captivating to look down at this city. And I have to say, I had this because I've been here a few times and I have many friends who live here. I had this strange feeling that I really felt attached to the city that I was seeing, up to the point where when you speak to New Yorkers, they talk to you about the things about New York that upsets them, and it upsets me too. But when I see a dirty subway, for example, or something strange happening, or someone littering in Central Park, I get upset about that too, because in a strange way, I feel like it's my city as well and our city as well. And so the hardships that a place like New York has to experience with people who don't appreciate this place is something that resonates with us as well. And I think it's not just because I've spent some time here, but also New York is one of the great cities in the world, and it's a Western city, and it was built by the West. And another thing that I'm really grateful for, a development over the last few years, especially perhaps the last 5 years, is how Western peoples all over the world have started to join forces, because we've started to recognize that we're all under threat, we're all under attack, and it might be for different reasons, and our circumstances might be different. There are a lot of things in America that are worse than we have it in South Africa. A lot of the DEI stuff, the woke stuff, is really bad over here, probably worse than anywhere. And we have some problems in South Africa that is certainly worse than America. And I think we have certain things in common. And one of the things we have in common is we are also a Christian nation, and we are Westerners. And it's remarkable just to consider the parallels between the Afrikaner people and the American people, with the arrival in South Africa or the arrival in America, interactions with people we come across. We had our own great track, or the pioneers moving towards the interior, as you had the people moving towards the west of America, founding republics. We had our own federal system, you might liken it to a federal system. And so historically, and now we're under attack as well. But there is so much in common. And obviously there are differences because cultures differ. And that's the beauty of cultures, is not to try to make them all the same, but to appreciate the differences and to appreciate the beauty in the differences. But also to recognize that even though cultures might differ, from a civilizational perspective, we're part of the same civilization. And for that reason, we are very grateful, after having believed that we've been rejected, that there's so much interest. And for example, that this house is so full tonight. And I was told that if we had a bigger venue, there would have been more people because it was sold out. And so we're really grateful about that. Now, just in terms of South Africa, my friend and colleague Joost will talk more about Orania, and I'm very happy that they can share their story with you. It's a project that I would really encourage you all to support, and I'm sure Joost will talk about that and how you can support. But just a quick story of where we are in South Africa. The one way to put it is to say that in South Africa, if South Africa is a ship, firstly, the ship is headed in the wrong direction. But what has become more important than the fact that it's headed in the wrong direction is the fact that it's sinking. And there's a difference between a ship heading in the wrong direction and a ship that is sinking. It's headed in the wrong direction in terms of the policies that they are trying to implement in South Africa, where, for example, there's this process to change the constitution or to sideline the constitution, to empower the government or the state to expropriate private property without compensation, as they say, which is just theft or confiscation. And there are all these really radical leftist policy ideas that they are trying to implement, and it's really dangerous. We spoken last time I was here about the race laws. There's more than 140 race laws in South Africa today, which, as far as we know, is the most race laws there's ever been in a government ever. But that's the ship headed in the wrong direction. But the ship is also sinking. And when we say the ship is sinking, we mean the government is collapsing. So if in America you would say that the purpose of the government is to protect life, liberty, and property, the South African government isn't doing any of those things. And that's the basic functions of a government. Firstly, to keep your people safe, to protect what people have, and to ensure that people are free or have at least some degree of freedom. But exactly the opposite is happening in South Africa. And so it's ironic, and yet you could say it was predictable that all of these metrics that they made all these promises about in the 1990s about what the future of South Africa would look like, none of them have come true. So unemployment is increasing, crime is increasing, service delivery is collapsing, water problems are increasing, electricity problems are increasing. So virtually every metric you can think of what a government is supposed to be doing, it's going down. And so it's going to lead to some point. There has to be some form of a, as we say in Afrikaans, ontknoping. Something has to happen. And that might mean that things will get worse. It might also mean that things will get better. And it's our job to work to ensure that when something happens, when South Africa changes, not if, but when, it changes for the better. And thank you. And there are different ways in which things could get worse, but there are also different ways in which things could get better. But we do think all the ways in which things could get better in South Africa should be based on the idea of decentralization of power and the principle of self-governance. And I think to the extent that America has had self-governance is also the reason why America has become such a great nation. The fact that people are involved with their own communities, that people are in control of their own destiny. And when that is taken away from you, it's only a downward slope from there. And so we need that to happen. And if I can make a request to you, the audience here, let me firstly say that we are very happy that the American administration has taken note of this, that we hear them talking about this and we see them talking about this, and it has resulted in serious ruptions back home in South Africa. And so the metaphor we use is it's like a buffalo that is injured. It's at its most dangerous because it's at its weakest. And that's sort of the feeling we get back at home at the moment. And so there has been talk about relocation, about getting people who want to get out of South Africa to come to America. And there are people who want to do that. But I think it's also important for us to get the message across and for you to help that even though there are people who want to do that, we, the Afrikaner people, we still want a homeland. We don't have one. And so we need to find a solution in South Africa as well. And that could take different forms. But it's important for us to get the message across in America that if people want to come to America, I know not only am I sure that they would make great Americans, I know that they do, those who have come here already. But many of us want to stay. And we want to be friends with America, and we want to trade with America and cooperate and so forth. And so there has to be what you could say sort of a two-tier solution. If people want to come, they should be able to come. But America can help a lot. It's not America's job to fix our problems, and we don't think America should or anyone else should. We want to fix our own problems. But if America and if people in America can help convey this message and help contribute in tangible ways to ensure that there's a practical solution in South Africa for people to get self-governance, it would really help a lot. And so I'll leave you with that. Once again, thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be here, and I really feel like I'm at home, and I'm really grateful for all the friends we've been able to make in New York over time. And I'm really happy for the people I've met so far during this trip and tonight, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you through the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
And with that, I don't know where he went, but Joost, if you could come up and say some words as well. Strydom is the this microphone just died. Joost is the manages the Orania movement. So just thank you for coming, and we look forward to hearing from you as well.
Thanks, guys. It's really great to be here. Let me just put down my wine. So this lady walks up to Benjamin Franklin when he exits the Independence Hall. And she says, "Well then, doctor, what have you gotten for us? A monarchy or a republic?" I'm telling you this story. I'm sure all of you knows the answer. But I'm telling you from our perspective. And he replies with something that I find in 2025 as an Oranian, as a South African, not only that, as a South African, as an Oranian in New York, wildly inspiring. And he says, "A republic, if you can keep it." And I've often looking back upon many things that our ancestors and your ancestors said, and it seems like they have the ability to weigh every word before they even say it, to have like a preset sentence ready even before the question is asked. So if you think about it, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. And also a republic, if you can keep it. Isn't that extremely inspiring? So Afrikaners know all about republics. I think we hold some kind of world record for starting the most republics. You know, if you start to list it, you know, we're starting, the Republic of Goosen, the Republic of Stellenland, the South African Republic, the Republic of the Free State, the Republic of Natalia, and many, many, many others. I don't even know all the names. There are so many of them. I'm sure that we have some kind of record. We love republics and Republicans for that matter. We don't like them just because they are republics. We like them because of what it means to start a republic, what it means to start something like that, and the input that everyday people have in their own government. We started many, and the last one we started in 1961, the Republic of South Africa, which is our doing. So it's still the ZAR, the South African Republic. It still exists. But it's not the same one we started. It's changed, and it changed for multiple reasons. Currently, the Republic of South Africa is failing, and Alice can tell you all about it. You know, he's got all the stats and so on, and it's become sad to just speak about this republic. It's become a burden just to mention it, because this republic is failing. It's deteriorating on so many levels. It is its deterioration is actually accelerating. Not only do you have some people in this republic chanting towards the death of other members of the same republic, not only do you see that physical infrastructures, railroads and roads, educational institutions and many other things are failing, but you also see that the social infrastructure of this republic is failing. There was a lie told in 1994, a lie that a constitution can keep a people together, that a constitution can keep people together socially. And it's proven to not be true. It's proven that the people of Africa, specifically South Africa, will not accept just becoming liberal and saying, "Oh, hail the mighty constitution." It doesn't work. It didn't work. And the fact that we are here tonight proves that it didn't work. Otherwise, we would have been very happy at home around the campfire. But the Republic of South Africa is failing. Kill the boer, high treason, investigation against some of our colleagues who've been here recently. Just the mere fact that they've they've spoken with the American government, has landed them an investigation towards high treason. So sensitive is the current political elite in the South African Republic. We also see our energy provider monopolized Eskom, monopolized the energy provision in South Africa, failing to an extent where we sit for days without electricity. And that's a sad state of affairs, not only because you cannot access social media, but also not just about comfort, but also an economy failing to an extent where factories and people and innovation stops. The few people left in South Africa to pay taxes, the few people left in South Africa to contribute to the economy cannot, because of the centralization of our energy provider. Many such other sad stories exist. Now, there are some people who can still become excited about the previous state of the South African Republic, the one that started in 61, but I am here tonight to tell you that even the comfort of that republic was not sustainable. And many people know this, the previous dispensation, the previous regime was not sustainable. But why? And one of the reasons is something that your vice president here in the USA actually recently identified, and that is the issue of cheap labor. We built something magnificent. We built a castle, but we built it on cheap labor. It was not sustainable. It was not sustainable to deny people voting rights while using them for cheap labor. And in that already, the Orania idea was born. It was born not as a reactionary idea. We must be careful for reactionary idea. It was born as a normative idea. The earliest documents that I have about the Orania idea was in 1952. Even before the heights of apartheid, members and people and intellectuals that would give birth to this idea of this new experiment, this new place, Orania, would already have stated that the labor relations in South Africa is not sustainable. In the 50s already, obviously it grew. Later on in the 70s, the Orania workers, the orange workers, and SABRA, the South African Bureau of Racial Affairs and such, said, listen, this is not sustainable. We need a new idea. So Orania was born from this. It was not a reaction to the end of apartheid, but an idea upon itself. You can say, in a sense, that there were some intellectuals that saw the future. And you can see the future. You can come to Orania, South Africa, and you can see 20 years in your own future. What was necessary for us, not only to survive physically, but to survive as a people, that was started long before it became a threat. It was started as an idea upon itself. So if we work from this idea that the Oranian leadership identified long ago, this idea that understanding that demographics is destiny, as I also recently saw, maybe he stole from the Orania intellectual leaders, maybe he came to the same conclusion, I'm not sure, but the idea that demographics is destiny, and still in that, to live in justice, even with your opponents, the Orania idea was formed. So what is Orania? Orania is a reckoning of the realities around you and then acting before it is necessary to act. Orania is a community formed in one of the most arid and least populated areas of South Africa, the Karoo region. It's a semi-desert, not a lot of rain. It's really like a desert area, maybe comparable to Arizona or something similar here at your side. People that said this is a low development area with high potential because the Orange River can be harvested. But it's also an area where no one else lives. It's the most scarcely populated part of South Africa. And if Afrikaners demographically in this geographical area settle, they can become a majority. You know all about majority politics. Your president won with a majority. And you need it. Without having a majority of some kind, you can make no political decisions. Having the option to decide over your own future is impossible if you don't have some sense of demographic majority. So the Orania people identified that and decided to form a majority in an uninhabited area. That's exactly what we did. But we didn't do it when the threat was at its highest. We did it already when there were very little threat. Embracing discomfort when it seems unnecessary leads to comfort when other people are experiencing discomfort. It is the time to make decisions is not when you are backed into a corner, but much rather the people that have the foresight to make decisions regarding their own future. So lessons from Orania. Orania is a community that developed from 1990. The community that seems to be the end community. Always good to have a backup. The community of Orania established itself physically in 1991, although the idea formalized in 1988. So in 1991, we found a ghost town. Bought it out for R1 million. It was not a lot of dollars, but we bought it for about R1 million and started developing a place that no one else wanted. Not the military, not the police, not corrective services, not many other farmers or anyone else. The Oranians chose an isolated and far-off place. From there, we built a community that's currently thriving in terms of many levels, built out agricultural sectors, built our own bank, built our own currency, our method of exchange, hoisted our own flag, and built many, many other things. Our community hosts high schools, hosts a college now. In 2019, it had only 5 students. Now it's more than 200 students from around the country studying in Afrikaans in the only place in South Africa when you can obtain a college qualification in Afrikaans. Is Orania perfect? It's far from perfect. It's not a perfect place. But it's an important and necessary place. And in Orania, we've learned some lessons. Firstly, who dares wins. If you start a community like Orania, it's with pioneers, right? A shout out to the Pioneer Initiative. You need pioneers to do things. In the early days of Orania, there were maybe 40, 50, or 100 people, and some of the people in Orania actually said, why are South African Airways flying over our airspace? It's not allowed. You know, the kind of people that would go into the desert and do that and say that is the kind of pioneers you need on your side. It's foresight. Secondly, is citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, citizenship has become something associated with privilege and advantages. Citizenship in Afrikaans is called burgerskap. And that comes from the burg. That is the idea, in English is the breach. So citizenship is closely associated with the idea of standing in the breach. When someone attacks your city, you must fill that with your physical body and take that responsibility. Citizenship is not something only seen as a privilege. It is physically taking the responsibility when there's attack on your city to cover that breach with your own body and taking that responsibility up. So citizenship is not a privilege. It is a privilege, of course. It's not just a granted right. It is a deep, deep responsibility, and we want to further that thinking in Orania. And in that case, freedom is not a right. Freedom is a responsibility as well. It's a responsibility before God. Even if you don't want to be free, if you rather want to suck on the advantages of freedom as comforts, you must embrace the idea of freedom. You must do it because it is coherent in terms of your faith as well. You must take up the responsibility of freedom, not only the privileges. And then Orania has an idea. It's an idea that have grown from the 80s, that have grown from the 90s into something spectacular. But it's also important to know to you people from the USA, who sometimes also call your place an idea. It is an idea. It's a wonderful idea, the idea of freedom. But it's not an idea only. Freedom is not just an idea. It's also a place for a people. If you only limit it to an idea, it is something ugly. It can be something ugly. Ideas can be good, but it can be reduced to something ugly. America is a place for its people, and Orania is also a place for its people. Do not reduce your country only to an idea where foreign interest can come and take it from you. is also a place. Don't forget that. And then justice. Orania is also a place living in justice. Not only justice to Afrikaners who urgently need a national home. It's also justice in terms of living in justice to your opponents. And that's maybe not the nicest thing to hear. But Orania also lives in justice to its opponents. So if there were to be confrontation around the Orania idea, know this and know it very well. Orania has done everything possible to assure that we live in justice. We have not exploited anyone. We're broken with the apartheid and colonial labor systems. We're not exploiting everyone based on their race in terms of labor. We're doing everything ourselves, whether that be building our own houses, cleaning our own toilets, tending to our own gardens. No one gets exploited. It's us doing it ourselves. We live in justice, even to the people who are hating the Orania idea. We live in justice. And that is something between us and the Almighty. It's something between us and the other peoples of Africa. But it's also something us to ourselves. Then, build something sustainable. Build something sustainable. We've made the mistake to build our previous dream, our previous republic on cheap labor. If you do something, if you build something, build it sustainably. And it connects to the labor idea. Think into the future. Do not let comfort tempt you into its very deadly claws. Build something sustainable, even if it's uncomfortable. Foundations matter. If you want to build a castle, the foundation is extremely important. So, a republic, if you can keep it, it's yours. If you can keep it, it is yours. Our challenge looks different. Our challenge is to build a republic. We've been denied our home multiple times. As the French Huguenots, we've been denied our home in French. Even the Dutch have been denied for religious reasons, and the Geese also from Germany and from the Netherlands. We've been denied our home there. Then we went to the Cape, and we've been denied that. The church and the people denied us a home on the British occupation. The Great Trek. Then we moved inland. We formed the republics. And we've been denied that after a nasty war, 2 nasty wars with the British. You guys beat them. We beat them once, lost once, sadly. They threw our women and children in concentration camps. But we've been denied and we had to restart. And we restarted. At the rebellion in 1914, we started again, built the Republic of South Africa. We've been denied again and we had to restart in Orania. It's a restart for our Republican dream. We don't care to restart. Our principles stay the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this very clearly. You guys have a golden opportunity. The Americans are back. We know this. We can see this worldwide. Under the lead of President Trump, we can see the USA is back. I want to tell you tonight, Afrikaners are also back. We are not back to repeat everything we did in the past. We're not back to repeat mistakes. We're back to build what we know best, and that's a republic. We are back for our Republican ideals and what we believe in. Your challenge is to keep your republic. A republic if you can keep it. Our challenge is a republic if you can build it. May God bless your effort in keeping your republic, and may He bless our effort in building ours. And may the flags of the USA and Orania wave in the wind on the same height next to one another in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for hosting us. We've been accepted so friendly. It's been great to be in your presence. We feel connected. You're like our nephews from afar. Thank you very, very much. I want to ask Nate, Alex, David, Stefano, everyone who's here. I just want to give you guys an Oranian flag. It's been fantastic. Take a picture.
All right. Which is like really
Finally, guys, we have a saying in Afrikaans, and I want you guys to say it with me. It means freedom in our time. Vryheid in ons tyd. Say it with me. Vryheid in ons tyd. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we end here, give us 1 second. Can we pull the flag back out so we can open this? This guy over here is the little giant, okay? He's rolling up his sleeves to get to work, and if that isn't an American idea, I don't know what is. Know that you are always welcome in our clubhouse. You are always welcome in New York, and you have friends in the States, and we want to offer you gifts ourselves. If we could have Alexis and Gianna come over, we have some challenge coins and some goodies for you guys. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.